How's it going, everyone? I'm back with my next follow-up video, the overview for the Land Raider project that I intend on working on. Yay! Exciting stuff, y'all. Um, so as you can see, I've got my Land Raider laid out right here. Pretty much got all my components set up that I need. I'm only waiting on a couple of gearboxes that I'll be sticking inside of this bad boy that'll drive the wheels. I only have two of those for two driven wheels, and then I have two undriven wheels. So I'm waiting on those two gearboxes, and then I'll need to order the wheels afterwards, as soon as I figure out where everything else is going to fit. And laid out right here, most of what you can see, some of it's kind of a little off camera, because my setup's it's a makeshift setup. I don't actually have a proper stand for this yet. I have one coming in, so any more videos like this ought to be from a better angle. I know this angle right now is a little unusual. Hopefully y'all bear with me for a little bit until that's in my hands. Anyways, back on topic. Most of the components I am going to plan on using are right here laid out. This is pretty much going to be everything I use either inside the project itself or for testing purposes. All this came from, well, most of this came from an Arduino starter kit that I got off of Amazon. I'll have that link down in the description in case anyone wants to take a look at them. I also have there's actually two different kits you can find. One's like what was this one? Almost a $40 kit. The other one was a little more expensive because it comes with more components that you can mess around with. I'll have both those down in the description below, so in case anyone feels like buying one and messing around with them, which I highly advise. These are actually very fun things to mess around with. You can. Anyway, to list out all of our components first, we got the Arduino Uno. This came in the starter kit. I had another one, but I kind of burnt out, I believe it was the strip on this side by accident during my school semester. So, whoops. That was not intentional. I can't actually use that one anymore. But yeah, this I'll just be using for testing out components and code. Otherwise, it's not actually going in the project because it's a little too big to fit in here. I could use it for the controller if I wanted to, but I want something a little more compact. Next up, Arduino Nanos. Two of them. One I'm planning on putting in the controller. The other one I'm planning on putting in the Land Raider. For a quick size comparison, I don't actually have any of the pins soldered in place on this yet. I'm going to have to do that afterwards. Move that custode. This is how big it is. Very tiny. Will have no space problems inside of this thing whatsoever. That's why I decided to go with the Arduino Nano. Get that back on there. Good. All right. We got a couple of transceivers right here. One, of course, going on the controller. One will be going inside the Land Raider. These are really handy because they can be programmed for transmitting and receiving. That's the meaning behind the word transceiver, in case anyone didn't know that. And if you so choose, you can program them to transmit and receive at the same time. I might do that with this, depending on what I plan on doing with these. I have yet to figure that out. Working plan right now is likely just having one transmit data and one receiving. Like I said, that is still up in the air. I will still take a little bit of time to figure that out. So we'll see how that plays out. All right. These displays right here, little segment displays. I'm still not entirely certain which one of these I'm going to use yet, but I'm intending on using these to keep track of how far the Land Raider moves on the tabletop. You know, they've got their own set movement distance. Here in the US, at least, it'll be in inches. So that's what this will be measuring. I kind of need the gearbox motors in first. Then I'll need to figure out what wheels I'm getting before I can get anything figured out for these. Make sure y'all can actually see those and not have my hand block them. Yeah, I'll need those in place first before I can figure out what I'm going to do with these. Because there's a specific set of equations that I will need to use to measure linear distance that's going to involve the speed from the gear motors. So that will probably be one of the last things I end up figuring out as far as these. Right here, we just have a simple little push button, a couple of LEDs. I plan on sticking LEDs right. Let's move that assault cannon. I would like to stick some in the assault cannon, but I'm not sure on that yet. I'd have to disassemble this first, since it's already been, as you can see, this whole thing's been already assembled. I've had this thing for, how long have I had this thing? A while. It's been assembled a while. But anyway, yeah. We'll see on this. I might actually choose to disassemble this, file some stuff down, stick a couple of LEDs in here so that way it lights up wherever it's supposed to be shooting. I think that'd be really cool. And you know, it has been done before, but you know, it's neat. I love that. I love that little detail. Yeah. Working plan right now. Just stick them right where these lights are. We'll try to Dremel out. Ideally not the entire holes, just the modeled bits of the bulbs themselves, and then just fit the lights in behind those. That way they'll still have the little housings in place. We'll see how that works out. I'm not sure if my Dremel tool has a fine enough bit for that. We'll have to figure that out as we go along. Maybe stick an LED right here as well. I'm still debating that. Now I'd like to stick some like right here and right here, but those are a little small and will require more work than I would like to do, because again, that would require more disassembly than I would honestly like to do. I want to disassemble as least of this as I possibly can just to get this thing working. As I mentioned a little bit ago, I've had this thing assembled for a while now. I can't give you an exact estimation because I got this kit so long ago. That is going to be one of the problems I face with this entire project, is the fact that this is already assembled. This project would be so much easier if I was starting fresh from a new kit. And I could, but since I already had this Land Raider here, I figured, you know what, it'd be cool if I actually did something a little extra with this, since I've already got it on hand, rather than ordering a new kit and waiting. Unfortunately, that also means I can't do as much with it. Like, I've seen some projects, I'll dig up the links for those and stick them down in the description below for any who are interested in looking into those, who have actually even automated the side sponsons and some of the weaponry. So, like, being able to turn that, maybe turn this, maybe even automate the little loading ramp here. I might actually look into doing that myself. Like I said, everything's still kind of in the planning process right now, so that is completely subject to change. I might do that, I might not. I just think that would be really neat. You move this up its movement distance and you disgorging your tropes. Boom. Just have that open. I'd love that. Kind of got off on a tangent. Anyway, yeah, other projects have automated side sponsons and stuff. I'd love to do that. But again, disassembly. If I wanted to automate those, I would have to just pretty much start from scratch with a fresh kit. Anyway, that's the plan with the push button and the LEDs. That's those out of the way. Let's see here. We got the joystick, which of course will be used to control its directional movement. That's pretty much all that I'm going to be doing with that. Nothing special. I'll be controlling its speed using a combination of things. It'll be potentiometer right here. Turn the knob. I'll just have that coded to change the speed of the motors. And the motors themselves will be something like what came with the Arduino starter kit. The gearboxes I mentioned should have two, since I'm ordering two of them, should have motors like this already included. In fact, this might even be the exact size of the motors coming with them. I'm not entirely certain. We'll just have to wait until they actually arrive here. So right now, this motor right here that came with the kit will just be used for testing. And the plan for the gearbox motors is to have them wired up to this little motor controller right here, so that way I can actually control the speed. This is a little H-bridge L293D that can drive two motors at once, so it's perfect since I'm going to have two gearboxes coming in. And that is what's going to allow me the opportunity to control these with a variable speed and using the potentiometer right here. That's the plan for those. And of course, with every project like this, Arduino, Wise and everything, it needs an external power source. So the plan is just to use a 9-volt with this little barrel jack adapter. Simple. Let's see here. Where did I put my Arduino Uno? I'll demonstrate how this works real quick. So it's got the little port right here for the barrel jack adapter. Just plug that in, and as you can see, the Arduino Uno is now powered. Pretty handy little thing. And this right here is also only going to be used for testing purposes. This is essentially just an alternate power source that you can attach to a solderless breadboard and then wire some stuff in line with the positive and negative sides of this. And once again, got a little port right here for the barrel jack. Do that. I've got a little switch right here to turn it off and on. That's all this is going to be used for, just for testing purposes. Nothing more than that. That is pretty much it as far as the general overview. Like I said, that everything that was lined up and that I just showed and discussed in briefly discussed is all the parts that I plan on using either inside the project or just for testing purposes. With the exception of the two gearbox motors and the wheels, because I don't actually have those yet. But anyway, that's about all I have for this project overview. Next up, I think, is just going to be testing a bunch of these components, making sure they work, getting some semblance of codes in place for whenever I do start constructing everything. And I will do my best to showcase that process as well. That way, in case anyone here who wants to try to replicate this can see how coding Arduinos work. And if you get that figured out, The skills can be more or less transferable to any other sort of coding software you might end up using, within reason, of course. There's stuff like MATLAB. Fucking hated MATLAB, by the way. That are, of course, going to be mostly used for other purposes. MATLAB is mostly like computational stuff. And this, of course, is robotics. But overall, at least just in general, whenever you learn coding, the skills can be roughly transferable to other languages. And it's just things like syntax change, but the skills themselves absolutely useful. So if anyone decides they want to mess with Arduinos, yeah, I'm going to be showcasing that process here. So that way you can get at least some sort of basis. And of course, I'll be putting any tutorials or anything that I end up referencing for my own coding. I will stick down in the descriptions below, so that way, in case anyone does decide to mess with Arduino stuff, hey, you got free resources right there. Yeah, I think that pretty much about covers it for this little overview. Next up, we're going to be messing with the components and coding, and we'll see where it goes from there. Hopefully everything goes to plan. I doubt it. But then again, that's sometimes the fun of the journey, right? Anyway, yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye. In a short little addendum, because I know I forgot to mention this, any parts that I use throughout this series, I will have links down in the description below where you can go to get those yourself in case you want to check them out. So yeah, that should be all that I have for you on this video. Bye for real this time. Y'all have a good night.